Hello, everybody, and welcome to this training. This is Joseph Lahiff, and today you're watching a little bit more about the Lean Startup. So let's get started talking about the MVP. What the heck is an MVP? So in the Lean Startup, you're looking at trying to quickly get something out into the market so that you can get feedback on it to find out if it's actually something your customers want. This is great because rather than actually completely building a product and then throwing it out there, and if you build it, they might come. You can lose a lot of money. You can lose a lot of money doing that because sometimes they don't. And you want to find out with the Lean Startup model how you want to find out if people are actually going to buy your product or not, and you want to find that out fast. So this is what we do. We create something called a minimally viable product. MVP, a minimally viable product. Maybe you've heard of that before, but never knew what it was. Now, be careful with this. This is something that I see get screwed up over and over and over and over by big companies and small. They don't understand what an MVP really is. The point of an MVP is to learn. It's to test, right down here on the bottom, it's to test what's riskiest about your product, about your service, about your company. What is riskiest? Is your business model risky? Is your technology risky? Is the question of customer demand risky? What is the riskiest thing? You want to test those things, and you want to test those things early and get validation that you have learned, okay, this is true, or this isn't true. This is not working the way we thought it was. So some great examples. There's different ways of going about doing this. It's all very creative ways of doing it. What it is not creating a version 1.0 of your product and setting it out there. It's not that. So don't do that. It is the creation of a .5 version of your idea, not your product. So let me give you an example. Zappos, right? The shoe store that was bought by Amazon for gajillion dollars. When they first started, Zappos didn't have any inventory. The guys that started it actually went down to a local shoe store, true story, went down to a local shoe store. They took pictures of shoes on the shelf, kind of clandestinely, took pictures of all these shoes, and then went back to their apartment and typed away on their computer, putting those pictures of the shoes in the other store onto their website and offering to sell those shoes to anybody that came to the website. Well, so they started to get some orders. So what happened? They went down to the store downtown and they bought those shoes and they shipped them away. They did that until they validated, will people buy shoes over the internet? I mean, that's a big question. Before this was a deal, there was a big question about whether people would ever buy clothes over the internet, much less shoes. I mean, you've tried shoes on before, right? Are they too narrow? Do they pinch? Is the arch just right? Or is it just too far back or too far forward? Or the heel pinches, or there's a tweak in the toe or something? There's all kinds of problems that you can have with shoes. And so the idea of selling shoes on, people thought they were crazy first. And they did too. So they decided to test their idea first instead of buying a huge inventory and hoping. Hope is not a strategy, folks. Hope is dangerous. Hope will get you in a lot of trouble. You need to have a strategy. And their strategy was what we call the manual first, or the Wizard of Oz MVP model. So another approach was Dropbox. Dropbox had this great idea to sync up all of your data no matter what platform you're on. You can see this over here. What they did was they needed to find out if people would actually wanted to have this, right? Do they really want to sync data across all these platforms and all that? Would that be something that's valuable? I mean, we think it is. It seems like a no-brainer. But let's validate whether people will actually buy this service. So they created an explainer video and put it out there and started to get feedback on the explainer video. They didn't have to build the technology. They knew behind the scenes, they knew what they were going to do. They had the ideas. But rather than build all the infrastructure, all these servers and everything to high availability and speedy blah, 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 they they made an explainer video and they took it around and showed it to people manually. Hi, we're this company called Dropbox. Here's our idea. You can actually still see this video on YouTube if you search for it on YouTube. Dropbox. I think it's, if you look for Dropbox MVP video or something like that, you'll get it. So that's it. You create an explainer video and see if people will buy it or want it. Next is crowdfunding. So you can go to one of the crowdfunding sites and you can pre-sell your product, or you can sell the investment in the idea. So I believe it's illegal to sell a product without having the product. So you can't sell a product and then build it later, right? So I'm going to sell it and then I'll build it, because you're taking money for something you didn't have unless you explicitly tell them you don't have it, like this, right? The crowdfunding allows you to say, hey, this is our idea. It's sort of like an explainer video. It takes the explainer video just a little bit further and says, rather than just getting your feedback, it says, hey, we're planning on making this thing. This was Pebble Technology, and they raised $10 million selling 70,000 of their tool. It was a software that worked on Apple or Android platforms, and so it's interchangeable. It's really cool. But they used this crowdfunding model to see if people really wanted it, to see if it was going to fly, and to see what other features people would buy in it. Another model is creating a landing page. Buffer did this, and one of the things that they did with this was they split tested price points. So split testing is where you have tell the computer to share one page or the other to a person randomly. So when you come to the website, and check out the product, and you go to the pricing page, the computer actually has two pricing pages, one with the product for $5 and one with the product for $20. And you get served one of those pages at random. And then if you click to buy, because they didn't have the product, they gave you a page, and you can see down here it says, oh, sorry, we don't have, I think that's where it was. Sorry, we're not just quite ready yet. So if you want to put your name on the wait list, put it right here. And so they started to collect names, and they were getting data. People clicked on buy for $5, X number of people. People clicked on buy for $20 for Y number of people. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the higher one actually got more clicks because people's perceived value. But so you can do that. It's called split testing. You can have your computer set up to do those things, to share different price points. So the point of an MVP is really to test the riskiest assumptions that you have in your business model. So is it, looking back when you do your blue ocean strategy, looking at those different categories, what's the riskiest one of those things? You're going to change something. What's the biggest risk? Are people actually going to want this? Is that going to change their mind about the value of the product or service that you're giving them? Test that piece by doing one of these approaches. All right, so next action steps. 1, identify your blue ocean strategy. So in your starter kit, you've got the blueprint, the worksheet for a blue ocean strategy. You can use that. You can create your own, but go ahead and create your blue ocean strategy. Identify the features along the bottom and rank your competition. That means you have to find your competition first. You may not think they're competition, but use this to help you see that there are people who believe they're competition in some areas, but you've outmarketed them or outdone them in one particular area. It's okay. Put that blue ocean strategy canvas together. Define on that canvas then, what are your highest risks as you build your business? What's the riskiest thing about your business? Then identify that and figure out a way you are going to test that. How will you test that assumption? Usually our risks are some kind of an assumption that we've made, and you want to figure out, how am I going to test that to get an answer? Because once I have the answer, I can get moving forward with, yeah, this is going to work, or nah, I might need to pivot on this. And then define what could work as your MVP. What will you want to learn from that MVP? Because that's the point. The point is not to get your product out there and get customers. The point is to learn. So you're testing something. Don't think you're making version 1.0. Think you're testing. I am testing an idea to see if anyone cares. Because just because you're passionate about it doesn't mean other people will be passionate about it. You need to find out. How long will it take you to learn? And the last one is, are you willing to let go? If it comes back and you find that, people really aren't interested in what I'm selling in this particular case, they're just not buying it. Are you willing to let go and pivot, right? Pivot is just change your trajectory a little bit so that you are making a new path. It's still going towards your mission. It's still working towards your vision, but it might be a slightly different goal to get you there. There might be a slightly different goal. And your mission might change slightly. At this level, we're really first starting out, your mission may pivot a little bit, right? If you look at the history of Groupon, the guys that started Groupon, actually the first thing that they created was a platform. I think they spent like 10 months working on this platform to get people to come together who were trying to boycott a product or raise awareness about something. So it was kind of a social justice, getting people involved, but connecting, using the power of the internet to connect people that way. And they built this thing out and they tried it and tested it, and it just flopped. No one was using, at least not enough people were using it to make it work as a business. Right? There were some people using it, but not enough to make it work. And so they stopped and thought about it, went back to the drawing board and iterated. And out of that, they still had this group concept, gathering people, the power of the group of internet. But what are we going to do instead? Oh, what if we get coupons? Groupon. Boom. Suddenly you have Groupon, and that's the history of Groupon. You may not have known that. So are you willing to pivot? You need to ask yourself that. And you may need to, you may not, but be ready. Yeah, just be at peace with that. It's possible that your particular vehicle is not what will fly in the market. And so you need to pivot a little bit to still reach your greater goal, but with a slightly different goal, a slightly different vehicle. It might happen that way. I can tell you a story. So when I started doing my coaching work, I wanted to do individual leadership coaching that wasn't associated with agile software development is something that I was doing, have done for 12 years or so, agile software development. But then I wanted to get away from this agile software development and just do leadership. And it was okay. I was getting customers and it's fine, but it wasn't doing as well as I needed it to make it a going concern. And so I pivoted slightly, and now I am still, my goal is still to touch as many lives as I can, to help people who are leaders in our society to make life better for other people, right? Leaders help other people, and my goal is to help leaders help other people. So you are a leader, you are an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs create jobs, they create money, they help people with their products and services, and so I'm helping you help the world. Same vision, same future vision, slightly different mission, not too much different. You're still a leader, just what type of leader? I was going after tech leaders, but not using the agile term, and that didn't work. And my goals now are very different, right? I'm not doing the same kinds of things that I was doing when I was just talking about agile leadership. So that's it. That's a story about pivoting a little bit. I pivoted, and I'm loving it. It's really quite exciting to see the change and see where people are going. So that's it for me today. Thank you for listening. This is Joseph Lahiff, and I'll talk to you again soon.